time to write now.
Right 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 now.
Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right now.
And we are live. Welcome, my friends, to the 78th meeting of the Right Now Writers Group. This is our weekly virtual writers group where we come together with other writers in the community and we just chat about that one thing we all try to love. We all love to do and we all hate to procrastinate. So that's the thing that we are coming together for writing. We meet every week, same time, same place. So whether you want to hop in the chat and hang out, hop on stream, or maybe we'll just try to get some work done today. So welcome. You guys all know me, Kaufman, daily writing streamer, fantasy author, and dragon enthusiast. And much, much more fun to come, my friends. The question I pose to you today is this. What writing nonsense is on your mind going into 2026? What writing craziness is on your mind as we are kicking off the new year? And as you can see, I'm joined by some of my fellow other writers over here. I'll kick it over to you, Chat Soul.
Hey everyone, Chat Soul here. Really trying to work on Raging Inferno. Not working on that tonight because I can't seem to get past a small block for it, but usually I'm going to start trying to work on that more this year. So maybe I can finish it before it gets too late.
Yay! So hopefully trying to make some progress over here. I feel your pain, my friend. Also pushing forward on Scarecrow. One step, one word, one chapter at a time. Crazy. What about you?
Oh, it's good to be back. Yes. I am going to probably work on the Raziel Chronicles today. I haven't been working on that for a while. I've been working on the other book for a while. So hopefully everybody had a good Christmas, had a good New Year's Eve, and, drank responsibly after a party, but still drank some root beer for me. Come on, don't be scared. So, yeah, there you go.
Lots of root beer. I poured out a glass of root beer for you. Crazy.
Yes! I felt it.
It was the craziest glass of root beer I poured out all season.
Oh, yes. I love it. I'm
like channeling my inner Raziel over here.
You're making me like it more. Come on.
Oh, man. It sounds like we're all trying to start off the new year by making progress on our long-standing projects. So I hear you're working on Pirates. Crazy. It sounds like you're working on your Raziel. What's the main series called again? What's the overarching series called? Is it the Raziel Chronicles?
No. The overall is Heavenly Warriors.
Heavenly Warriors. Okay.
Yes.
So I was like, you talk about it all the time, and I'm so used to the characters. I'm like, I forgot what the overarching series was called. But that's like the same thing with me, right? So everybody knows the book I'm working on is The Last Scarecrow, but it's the series it's part one of a Dawn of Magic series. And I mean, probably not as much relevant for marketing until there's more books in the series out, which is why I like book one, focus on Scarecrow.
True. And yes, so, I don't blame you for Embro for talking about the Amish Paradise. I totally get it. I get it. And I respect it.
Crazy. Representing the Amish Paradise over here.
Amish Paradise, yes. I am in Amish Paradise.
What's up, Lynn? How's the New Year's writing vibes treating y'all? Unknown, welcome, my friend. Been a while. Welcome back. What writing craziness are you guys kicking off the new year with? Hopefully some good writing vibes. Hopefully some new writing projects or knocking out some other stuff. What's been on my mind? I mean, you know what? I set that goal for myself for Scarecrow, May 15th. That's my goal. I'm using it mostly as a self-accountability. I'm like, all right, get the pieces in place, keep pushing myself, be making enough daily progress. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm able to achieve it. I believe I can fly.
I believe I can fly. You can do it.
Exactly. Any single time I'm struggling, I'm just going to hear crazy that voice. You can do it.
Yes.
Oh man. So like I feel like I'm just I'm pushing myself. I mean, you guys know I've been working on Scarecrow now for 2 years. And it's getting close. I mean, I've already sent out the first quarter of it for feedback. Sending it out to a few readers. We'll see what people think. I think it's a good story, but once again, might be biased. Let's think. You, all right. I'm actually really curious because I'm working on a really. I have a series of chapters which do some really interesting things. Um, when with your guys' stories, do you ever do like standalone chapters that are very like that use like really like difficult storytelling techniques at all?
How do you mean exactly?
I guess more complex, and I guess let me pull it because I think about what I'm doing with Scarecrow, right? So there's like I have a 2 chapter story arc. No, it's like a 1 chapter story arc where the characters are in a trance state, and I do a whole thing with stream of conscious writing, them being in a trance, also doing a memory, and while doing new character setups.
I think I read a little bit of that one time
Mhm.
when I was over there.
Yep,
Yeah, I
yep.
get it.
Call to the Moonflower is definitely a fun one.
Yes.
I don't think I've done something like that. At least not off the top of my head that I can recall.
I feel like you've probably done something similar with a bunch of characters, though. Um, I feel like you've definitely done something similar with a bunch of characters. Um, where let's see, because I know you do a lot of different character story arcs in your books, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I know you have a huge cast.
Yeah, and pretty much everything I write, if I have less than 4 characters, it's not my writing.
Mm,
I don't think I've done that before, but I think for my new book that I have been writing, the second eh, the second book that I'll write after I'm done with the first one, of course, then it will probably be the first time that I've done that where of course there's the main thing going on, but in the background I'll be talking about what this guy is doing in the meantime
hmm
while the rest of the bigger stuff is going on. So I get it. I'll probably
mm.
do that for the first time in the second book, but it will wait. It will need to wait because I'm on the first book right now. I can't do the second one right now.
Big story arc stuff.
Yes, and I know you're gonna like the second one, but I cannot tell you right now till I'm finished.
Let's see. I've tried something. I tried something very unique with one of the chapters, and I've seen it done twice in other narratives. I saw an episode in Doctor Who that did this, and then I saw an episode in there was an animated Netflix series years back called what was that? Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beast. Those are the 2 times that I've seen this model of tried, but essentially the characters are trapped in a dream state where the character trapping them has trapped them in a type of dream type world. So they're stuck in a cycle in their dreams, trying to figure out how to escape.
Mm.
And I think it's interesting. It creates kind of like a challenge where you have to be able to create. I feel like I have to like make it really clear for the reader without them getting lost. Yeah, what's up, Hannah Banana? Hannah Banana in the house. I saw that you had a really good question. What is that? You said, I've been in a writing. Let's see where we're at. By the way, now I missed this, but glad you got out of the writing slump. Anytime you need motivation, we're always here for you, my friend. But Hannah Banana, I think you had a question about what was that? Tips for dialogue. Soul crazy. Any dialogue tips?
Act it out. If you're not sure about your dialogue, what's always helped me, at least anymore, is speak the lines out loud in the way you think they'd sound in the book. And if it hits the ear wrong, or it doesn't sound right in some way, maybe change it around a little bit. If it sounds okay, you're probably on the right track with it.
And kind of make sure, well, that, and just think, how would they say it? Like, whatever, you want them to say, how would they say it? Would they say it exactly as you are thinking about it in your mind, or are you okay with, like, changing it up a little bit?
All right. All right. So sorry. Dialogue tips. Dialogue tips. Let's see. What is my advice for dialogue? I got distracted.
Distraction.
I think there's a couple different strategies you can take with dialogue. I think a lot of the times writers will rely on speech tags to supplement their dialogue, and of course, like you need to know which characters are speaking. But I think the goal of a speech tag is generally to be almost oblivious. If you can have the dialogue speak for itself without the speech tag, I think that is the goal. And then how do you make your character's dialogue sound different between various characters, right? And that's always the challenge, right? If all of your characters' dialogue sounds the same, then that's a miss going. Your reader's just not going to be able to visualize the different characters. A really good exercise for this is go to a middle of your story, take out a page of dialogue or 2 pages where it's dialogue heavy, get rid of all the character names, and then read it aloud. Does each piece of dialogue sound like it's a different voice? Give it to somebody else to read. Can they distinguish which character is speaking? And can they get some type of sense of the character's personality just by reading or listening to each of their pieces of dialogue?
Yeah, I didn't think about giving it to others to see if they can tell the voice or not. Yeah, I definitely have to second that. I mean, I'm usually able to tell my own characters apart, but then again, I really put my focus into, do these characters sound distinct over kind of anything else at first, so I might be a little biased.
Oh, and also, be sure to explain how is the character saying it. Like, are they saying it in a grumpy way with arms folded? Explain that, or are they saying it happily, or however?
Yeah. But it's like how, and I think the question we ask ourselves is like, what word choice can we use, and how do we distinguish which when a character is saying something? Like how if a character is saying something happily, how do you do it without using the speech tag?
I think this still falls under speech tag. That's one thing I never really got in school. Is it's not usually for me, it's not just the words, because sometimes the words alone are enough, but sometimes I've also combined it with an action, and actually have the character do something that either lets the reader know they're happy or just enhances it. I think it still falls under speech tag, but again, I never really understood that in school, so.
Yeah, something that I always try and that I think about with characters is, how do I distinguish a character's personality through either certain speech patterns, habits, or certain types of language? How, if I pull back and ask myself, how does one character speak differently than another character? Think about your friends and family. This is a great example. Think about a good friend. Think about a family member. How do you know that those two people speak differently? Like, they do, even if you take out the tonality of it. you generally know because the way they frame their sentences. You'll be able to tell because certain people tend to use words differently. People will sometimes use longer sentences, shorter sentences. Sometimes people will space out more. Sometimes people are more verbose, depending on personality types. You want to ask yourself, how can you translate that same ideology into your character's dialogue? And it's really how you frame words and sentences. Maybe you have a character who is more short-winded, or more like character a few words, and that's like their thing. When I think about my three main characters, and this is what I do with Scarecrow. So I have my main character who is very upbeat and is always trying to be like optimism, positivity. Of course, our POV character. So I make his dialogue more, generally a little bit longer, and trying to feel like he's intentional, but he doesn't know what's going on half the time. My crow, who has lost his mind, is eccentric. So his dialogue is very fragmented speech, sentences that generally don't make sense to anyone but the crow. I use more quotes. The crow is kind of like a quote-esque character. He quotes nonsense. And even if I closed my eyes or if I gave it to someone, they would be able to tell the crow is speaking. My pixie. Everyone loves the feisty pixie. Why? How does her dialogue stand out? Because she cusses like a pixie. And I've created a cuss language. She is very much aggressive. So her dialogue uses more like you. It uses more you language. It uses more accusatory type language. When she's upset, her speech tends to be shorter. So based on the scene they're in, I frame the length of the dialogue and the length of her sentences in a different way.
Another thing that can also help, and this is something I was actually trying to figure out a little better last week, accents.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say.
Because my family does not understand how I can hear accents as easily as I do. My papa was from Southern Alabama. You could tell. Crazy. I think you've met him once or twice. Yeah, no, the guy had a thick Southern accent. It was very clear, at least to me. And I've tried doing that in writing. I haven't done it so much in my original works, but in my fan fiction works, yeah, no. One of the main canon character I work with actually speaks in a specific kind of dialect. I just call it North Blue dialect, and it's spelled that way. So instead of spelling it Y-O-U, for example, Y-E. And then when I say it out loud, it still sounds like you, but the inflection on the E is a little different. The inflection on the second letter is a little different enough that and it's similar enough you can tell it. Different enough that if you try to spell it, it's clear it's going to be spelled differently.
Interesting. So then it's the way that they use certain words, and you're intentional about how certain words are used specifically for that character.
Yes, let's see. I've used Y-E for you. I've used your, as in Y-E-R. And then Y-E and then apostrophe E-R, depending on which your I need to use. He also drops the G off of INGs. It's replaced with an apostrophe to show that if it was spoken aloud, it would end without hearing that G sound.
You know, that's actually really interesting. So I do something similar with the pixie. I have her, when she says you, it's always yeah. And she always does. And then I drop the ing portion on some of the words. So it's always like she's using it's like a type of accent, but I don't tell that she has an accent, but I frame the language so that way I let the reader picture it. And
I would personally read that as an accent. Because if it's clear what she's actually trying to say, it's completely in dialogue or in thought, and it's missing like that essential piece. My first thought would be, oh, so she speaks with an accent. And I've seen that a lot. I've actually seen that a lot in fan fictions. specific characters, mainly either older characters or characters that are canonically known to have an accent. Yeah, they're spelled that way when it's actually written out, and happens actually a lot more than people think.
Awesome. This is a really great conversation about dialogue, by the way. I love chatting about dialogue, and I can tell we definitely have a lot of really great comments here. Let's see.
I want to point out this one because I actually tried a new accent in a couple of stories ago that I was working on, and it's was more like is. It was I apostrophe S. Still the same thing, but left out the T. But yeah, no, trying to exclude those two letters is just hell.
Like action is always good for me with dialogue. Yep. And I mean, of course, right? A good scene is going to generally rely on action, dialogue, and interiority to varying extents. Completely agree. Interesting. I like accents with specific words, but too many abridged words and accent writing can get very distracting to read to most readers. It's an interesting one, especially if you have a lot of characters who have a lot of accents. Absolutely. And I mean, I don't think there's one right way to do an accent. There's a couple of different strategies, whether you're changing the text itself or whether you're using speech tags or descriptions. But it's interesting. It is.
One thing I actually do want to say, I almost forgot this. You don't want to do too much. Where did I read it? It was somewhere I read that if you really should only stick to 3 changes per character, because any more than that, and it can actually make it unreadable. And that doesn't just go for like writing with accents, but word choice in general really goes into that. Anybody here familiar with Plague Dogs? I actually have a copy of Plague Dogs, and I've seen the movie. I love the movie. It's sad, but I like watching it. It's really dark, but my God, I tried reading the book. It is written in such a way, the Scottish accent from the fox is impossible for me to read. I have even tried saying it out loud, and I felt like I was speaking a completely different language. It's like, I can understand French better than this.
You're speaking fox.
God, not even fox.
You be speaking fox there, laddie.
It was like 3 times worse than that crazy. At least. Nice and Kenny, but that's about it.
And by the way, I see we have another writer here hopped into the stream. 1 second. Kara, I saw you hopped into the stream with us. Let me pull you up. Maybe. It shows her offline. Does it show for you guys? Kara, can you hear us? Oh, perfect. I love your owl, by the way. I love that owl logo. That's like, Kara, you're like the wise owl right now. I love this so much. Yeah, we'll probably do about an hour and a half today. We're going to hop into a writing sprint in just a little bit. Well, that sounds very healthy. We could probably all use a little more meditation in our lives. Can you guys hear Kara? Yeah. Yeah, Lynn says that she can't hear her. Yeah, so Kara, it looks like we're having some audio and visual issues on your end. Okay. Well, we appreciate you stopping by, Kara, as always. We appreciate you. We're all just talking about dialogue. Okay. All right, thanks so much, Kara. Yeah, it looked like her because it's sometimes Evie Mux is a little weird, my friends. I could hear her, and I think Sola and Crazy could as well, but clearly you guys in the
Yeah, I
chat.
could.
Sometimes the Evie Mux studio is a little funky. But all
Okay.
good. Kara was just saying hi. Kara was just saying hi to everyone, and she was just coming to hop in real quick because she was working on some dialogue as well and working on some storytelling. But where were we? I know we were having a really good conversation about dialogue though, which is actually really important.
I did start a couple comments that we can point out. First, just want to say I heard that in her voice.
Ambrosia, Ambrosia, you crack me up. You're like, anytime you talk, like we can tell, like I can just like feel your personality because you use like certain like words, and I love it. And I think that's when you think about dialogue, like look at the chat on the left side. If you guys like want to practice dialogue, go into like a YouTube chat, look at comments because the tone is taken out. Look at texting. Look at like here.
Mhm.
You can generally hear when people are having more of a conversation. You can tell people's personalities based off their chat. If you want to practice dialogue, perfect example on screen. Like,
I actually just got an idea since I've been trying to work with accents. I've got a couple different characters that I write in different accents. Maybe I could actually post them to the Discord, so that people can get at least a little bit of an idea of at least how I write it.
and absolutely, yeah. And once again, for anybody who's not in the Discord, come join the Discord. It's linked down in the YouTube description. So we actually just did a cool new update. Certain letters and words draw out the accent worse.
Yes.
Anybody who has an accent, which is interesting. I don't think I have an accent, but in this state that I'm in, they're like, you have a California accent. I'm like,
You do sound like you're from California, dude.
I don't think Californians had an accent. But you know what? Whatever
Most
area you
people
grow up
can't
in-
hear their own. Most
Exactly.
people they can't hear their own
Exactly.
accents, and they usually can't hear the accents of those close to them. I think the only reason I could hear my papa's accent is it was so different from everyone else's around me.
Mhm.
Me and Crazy, we knew somebody back in high school that I believe she was like from Minnesota or something, and I could hear her accent compared to everyone else's very clearly. And she seemed to almost drawl on the ends.
Why does that sound so familiar?
Amanda?
Dude, I'm old. Okay, my brain, the memories are gone. Okay, I
Accents.
am old.
You know how I made one of my other characters stand out. Granted, I have so much fun with character development, and then I try to leverage dialogue with it. I like to give characters. You know how for you to connect with a character, you need to understand their motivation, right? I give dialogue a motivation. I ask myself, what is the motivation of the dialogue, separate from the character? And that's something that's worked well for me. So, for instance, the Pixie's motivation for her dialogue is to talk over everybody else. And that's something that I play around with. Whereas other characters, I have motivations where it's like their motivation is to be mysterious, intentionally mysterious, and then that helps me frame how I want to form dialogue. But I saw another really good question here from Janine. What's up, by the way, Janine? And by the way, I saw a couple of you guys hop in as well. You guys always hop in during really good conversations. I saw, where were we at? JK, I saw you pop in at one point. Mama Maggie, welcome as always. But Janine, this is a good question. Do you use italics for flashback scenes?
Yes.
Ooh,
I do that
flashbacks.
consistently.
I love talking about flashbacks. Italics for flashback scenes. I think so. Italics is a style choice, and I think how you use italics in your book is really up to you. Now, of course, there's more like common. There's more common ways of using italics that writers can generally agree on. But the biggest piece of advice with italics is whatever you do it consistently throughout the whole book. If you're going to have a character's thoughts be certain thoughts be in italics, do it consistently throughout the whole book. If you're going to have flashback scenes, be in italics, every flashback scene in the book should be italics consistently. That's my biggest thing with italics.
Yeah.
With flashback scenes, sometimes you see them with authors where they're italics, sometimes they're not. I think the question I would ask myself, Janine, is first off, how many flashbacks are there in your book? Because there's a difference between a character has a single flashback or a character has a flashback like every other chapter, or there's flashback chapters. I'm really proud of myself right now because I've been getting back into reading fiction again, which that's been one of my biggest things. The past years have all been nonfiction for working on myself. And I got myself back into reading fiction by going with Sanderson. I went reading Stormlight Archives. So I'm happy I'm like just reading again because I missed it. But something I've seen with what he does is he does entire chapters, which are flashbacks, but he uses the chapter title as the flashback heading. So the chapter title is 5 years ago, then the chapter is a flashback. And it's not italics, it's just like a normal chapter. But because the chapter title gives away what the heading is. I've also seen flashbacks where you have half a scene and the character's like, oh, and this one thing happened, ... Then the rest of it is a flashback.
That's pretty much what I do is the other one of just, if I know I'm going to talk about a flashback, I just do another chapter and do the whole chapter about a flashback.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. And then get back into the present day with another chapter.
I do flashback little scenes. Sometimes it's taken up half a chapter for me, but I always have it my style italics, but I also do like a symbol above and below it to usually help people figure out this is something different. And usually my characters are also kind of like acting like, okay, this is definitely a flashback. And I actually and that actually makes me think about Grey Stripe's Vow from the Warriors series, the Super Editions. That is actually about half flashback. And it is not in italics, but that's because it consistently goes back and forth. So we actually see Grey Stripe when he was younger, but then we see Grey Stripe when he's older. But it's, even though it's a flashback, it's treated like it's the present moment. And it's very clear that that chapter is about the past.
Yeah, and I mean, I think as an editor, as if I put my editor hat on and I see somebody gives me a manuscript and they have flashbacks, my question I'm going to ask myself is, what is the intention of the flashback? Is the intention of the flashback because it's part of the plot? Is the intention of the flashback because it's character development? Does it happen one time in the novel? Does it happen 10 times in the novel? How long is the flashback? There's a difference between a flashback that's 3 paragraphs and a flashback that's a chapter. And I think then once I understand the intent, then I'm like, okay, well then how much do I want to emphasize it? And then that leads me to decide, okay, do I use italics for flashbacks or can I use italics for interiority or another thing, right? Because I think you want to be intentional about your use of italics. So when you use them, it stands out in the writing. Because same thing with when you use bold, italic, same things with non-traditional punctuation, ellipses, em dashes, semicolons, non-traditional. We want to use them with intent and sparingly. Are there times you can break the rule and you can use them a lot? Sure. But you want to generally stick to non-traditional, since because they're used non-traditionally, it stands out when we see them. If you use them too much, readers see them more, and then they lose their value. Yes, I saw that as well. And by the way, before we get before we had that, I saw a couple of you guys hop in. What's up, John? I saw you hop in as well. I just want to give you a quick shout out and Megan. Let's see. I saw a couple of you guys use that. But Ambrosia, you had a really good call out that I wanted to throw out real fast. You said we need to get me in a live so you can hear my accent. So you guys know, I just want to throw this out there. Our writers group is an open invite. So anybody who ever wants to hop on stream with us, all you got to do is holler. We've been doing this for 77 meetings, If you want to hop on for part of it, for the writing sprint or any of it, our writers group is open invite for us to just chat about writing nonsense. Soul stuck it out with me from the beginning, and then Crazy, you've definitely been around for a while as well.
Why?
But once again, when I created this, the goal was just to create a real writers group virtually.
And also, I'd like to point out a bit of a challenge, probably for Kaufman, that Ambrosia also said previously, Lord have mercy on everyone if ever Kaufman puts me and Root Beer in the same live. The challenge has been thrown to you.
I know
my
Ambrosia
friend.
has a lot of has some really fun, crazy writing styles as well. I guess Ambrosia, I guess that's a challenge. You're gonna have to come join us at some point. We'll have to get some crazy writing craziness over here. It's gonna be explosive.
No one might be able to handle it. The power. It'll be too much.
Let's see. But I want to go back to that question. Small Maggie did have a good one. All right, so question. So text messages, letters, notes, or emails in a story, plain text or bold text, indented an extra tab, or same as rest of story text. Once again, actually, you guys go first. Before I put editor hat on, I'm curious what the conversation is. What would
Text
your guys'
messages, I personally put in bold.
Okay.
Letters and notes, I have put in italics and tabbed, and same thing with emails.
Okay. What would your guess be, Crazy? If you're doing text message, letter, note, email, sometimes you'll see somebody's looking at a TV screen, news report on a TV screen. I've seen a number of different variations of this.
To be honest, I'm probably not the right person to ask because I've never done it. Because when I was talking about on Raziel, where Molly leaves a parchment that you write on, kids, okay? And it says something that gets, I forget what the guy's name is, but the person who's hunting her, after he reads it, he gets angry, and I'm sitting there like, what did it say? I wouldn't know because I've never done it before, so I don't really know.
Crazy, I'm definitely getting distracted. Give me just 1 second.
I am too. You're good.
I'm curious what the chat thinks, how they would go about formatting. Cool. Awesome. By the way, Ambrosia, I saw you were asking how to get in. I just messaged you the studio invite over on Discord. So if you want to hop in with us, you're welcome to join. Janine asked as well, are VTubers allowed? Absolutely. Anybody who is a writer, and that's always a distinction. Anybody who writes is always welcome to join us. Because once again, it's less about what you're writing, what style you're writing, whether you're working on a screenplay, a poem, a novel, a story. At the heart of it, we all need to write a story that has believable characters and a plot, and hopefully a good world to explore. Let's see. Question. Wait, did I? Oh no! Wait, before we go to that, let me finish the text message one. So because I see this with I see it as editor hat. I see this actually done frequently. Of the most popular ones, I usually see text messages or emails. And the truth is, there's no right or wrong way. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You want to ask yourself, what is the goal of including the text or the email in the thing? First off, is it necessary? And if the answer is yes, or it is necessary, then you just want to separate it enough from you want to be able to separate it enough from the core text so that way it stands out. I've seen a couple of different ways of framing text messages, emails, notes, letters. And I'm sure if I go look in the Chicago Manual of Style, I'm sure there's probably a specific formatting. Let's just say for text messages. Chicago Manual Style treats it like any other quotation. So if you go look in Chicago Manual Style, they're going to say you basically use italics with an indent. If you're adhering to traditional formatting, and that would probably be similar, I guess, to like traditional publishing houses. As an indie or as a self-published author, I care less about that traditional style, and I care more that if I use a text message, that it's indented enough that it stands out. And once again, with like the same thing with flashbacks, if you're going to do it, just do it consistently throughout the novel, right? That's the biggest thing. Whatever indent, whatever italics or bold, if you're going to say character speaks and you indent that over, alternating between the characters, it's fine. Just do that consistently every single time you do text messaging. If you have a lots of, like, let's say you alternate, you have emails, you have texts, you have letters, I would say use the indenting, same indentation for all of them. But then it's probably your call on whether you want to use italics or not. Italics might not be necessary for text messages. They might not be necessary for letters or notes or emails, but it depends on how much of an emphasis you want on them. So, excellent. I hope that answers your question, because that's actually a really good one. I actually see writers do things like that a lot when I go through manuscripts. This is a good one. Then said, I do a special formatting for text. Vellum even has a text message format native in the system. I'm not surprised by that. Awesome. And I see, so Mom Maggie, before we get to your next question, I see we're joined by another awesome guest in the studio. So without further ado, let us welcome to the stage Ambrosia Vale. I was like, I hope I got that right, my friend.
Yes.
Woo! Welcome.
Howdy, y'all. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yep, we can hear you.
Can you hear me all right?
Can.
Yep.
Can the chat hear me?
Chat, can you hear Ambrosia? Just say aye or yes or
Aye, Captain.
Order, mateys.
Aye.
Ambrosia, it's great to have you.
Captain, my
join us.
captain.
I love seeing other writers join us in the chat, and especially hopping onto the stream with us. Yes, chat can hear. Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
You just wanted to weigh in on the crazy texting conversation, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I needed to weigh in on everything. There's so much going on here. I've been backgrounding with Root Beer. I mean, me and Root Beer on Discord a lot. Yeah.
Ambrosia, so for anybody who doesn't know you, I know you've been with the community for a little while. What do you write? So everybody knows what style of storytelling, what genre?
I mostly am writing into the fantasy category. Epic fantasy is what I categorize my current work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at I have a Peter Pan story that's romance, but I mainly stick to that area.
Awesome. Well, you definitely know I'm a fan of fantasy.
I am a pen and paper writer.
You said you're a pen and paper writer?
I am physically a pen and paper writer.
Hey, good for you. I mean, my first book that I wrote throughout middle school, high school, I sat in the back of the class and wrote on paper. And I filled about 10 notebooks worth doing my very first story. So.
I wonder if you got into trouble for that.
Mine was a composition book. There's always trouble somewhere.
You know what crazy? The teachers tried to get me in trouble, but I had this little talent called multitasking.
I got in trouble with my teacher.
They would like call on me, and I would know the answer to the question because I'd figure out what they were talking about, and then I'd stop paying attention.
I gave my English teacher a lot of trouble when it came to English projects. She only got this much, but when it came to my other writing, it was like all this, and she's like, why can't I get this from you? And she's like, I told her point blank, because you never give me interesting topics I can write about. And there's the I.
So
you hear the accent, right?
So real quick, as we're before we lose this, Mom Maggie, you asked another question. Telepathy, packlink, mindspeak, italic or plain, with or without quotation marks. What do you guys think? I think as a fantasy author, the most common one I will see is telepathy, like some voice is speaking. But that's me personally, or mind speak. I would say it's mind speak or telepathy a lot in fantasy. How would you guys write, or how would you guys format that?
I actually have a character that does that, and all his dialogue that he does in his head or that he hears from others is all in italics. But
All
there
the
is
time?
no quotation mark, although probably would not be a bad idea.
Hmm.
I was thinking.
I definitely do italics myself.
You do italics?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah, I think, and once again, I'm realizing I'm going to sound like a broken record.
Yes.
What is the intent? Oh my goodness! You guys will be able to guess it. That thing I ask is like, all right, what is the intent of the telepathy pack link mind speak? Is it? Are you establishing a character? Is it a bunch of characters? Mom Maggie, I know from your short story, or from your flash fiction from Faded Fantasy, I remember that you did Werewolf Synod, I believe. And if I think about a pack like that, I think I would have. Ooh, what would I do? Pack speak. I think if I wanted to set the pack speak apart, or if it was like a telepathy, like they can all communicate through their mind, I think I would do that as italics. However, if the majority
I
of
would,
the dialogue,
I would though.
and this is where my
Sorry.
this is where my distinction is, right? If the majority of the dialogue throughout the story is like them talking back and forth and it's all dialogue, then I wouldn't do italics. And I think it depends on how often is it being used. Because if you're using italics the entire time, the reader's just going to get kind of like tired of that, and then it's like, well, why use italics if it's like done a lot? Because you could do the same thing of like, okay, let's say it's pack speak. You can use action to signify and clarify this is pack speak, as compared to dialogue. Dialogue, quotation marks, has to be a verbal thing. Quotation marks is only when a character physically says something, not when they telepathically say something. But what were you going to say, Ambrosia?
I've seen some books.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some books where they use different type style, like the typing. Like they change the style of the typing. Like they use a different typing style. Like instead of like one, you use like regular old text, and then they change it up for just the mind talk, like to emphasize on that it's a different way of them, like their thoughts as well.
So when
They'll use
you
a
say like a
different
different, so
typing
it's
style.
like a different like type of font.
Yeah, they'll change the font, and
Oh,
it'll look different to that.
interesting. Have you? I'm curious. Have in the books that you've seen that done, are they like big like traditional mainstream books, or have you seen them in more like a indie, less known? I'm just kind of curious. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this, but I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by using different.
I
Different
honestly don't know. I don't know. Which it's been a while, so I don't know actually.
yeah,
But
okay.
I've
I'm
seen
curious
it
if formatting.
done.
No, I was just going to say, I'm
Formatting
curious if
definitely.
formatting software would change it.
I mean, I used to do it where I was doing computer class, and
Mhm.
I would do it and changing up just so that way it differentiated also as well, because I got it from the books that I was reading, and I started doing it also in like my school assignments,
Mhm.
and just so that way the teacher knew what I was talking about.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that could work. I feel like the font choice would have to be distinguished enough. I feel like if it was a distinguishable enough font, that could be effective. Oh, that's interesting. I've never thought about
Yeah.
changing. I've never thought about changing font for.
I've also seen them put when they if they were doing like thought versus telepathy, you could always use the little star that goes at the top
Oh,
of
the
like when
asterisks.
you do something.
asterisks.
Yeah, the
That
asterisks.
right?
Use an asterisk if you're going to use mind thought and just regular thoughts. If you were using telepathy, to differentiate if you're going to use both, so that way you know what's a thought and what's mind read.
Yeah. So I think this is what I would do, because I've asked myself that same thing. How do you distinguish, or how, if I was going to do it in Scarecrow, how would I distinguish the character having a straight thought and then a character speaking to them telepathically? I think I would.
Right.
I would use normal italics for the character's thought if I want to emphasize a thought. If a character is speaking telepathically, well, I couldn't use. I might use the. No, I'm not sure if that would work. I'd have to check, actually. I'm wondering if I could use an apostrophe. I'm wondering if I'm thinking if I used apostrophe and italics. That combination of.
Why don't you play with it and find out? See how it looks.
Yeah, because I'm asking myself how it would look, and I mean I think it would look fine, but I'm not sure what the I'd have to double check what the correct usage for the apostrophe. That'd be interesting.
That's why they called sample little make little sample paragraphs of different versions to see what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm. And I mean I think that's part of it as well, right? I think you have to find a style that you like, but then whatever style you go with, just consistently.
Yeah, and that's how you grasp your readers that way too. Because if you're differentiating and making your own in your will art display of how you do your wording and everything, it recognizes you. Oh, that writer's really cool. They differentiate. They separate out basically what's what, and you can understand their writing better if you're actually reading it accordingly.
As a side note, I totally missed that you said this, Momo. You said I would pay someone to do it formatting. This is actually one of the jobs of a copy editor. This is literally one of the main jobs of a copy editor. So as we know, there's different types of edits: developmental edit, line edit, copy editing. A copy edit is the one that happens near the end before proofreading. A copy editor's job is to fix punctuation, to fix formatting, to fix grammar mistakes, and to make sure that punctuation, grammar mistakes, and formatting are consistent throughout an entire novel, while also providing a style guide of, are you doing these things consistently? It's kind of things we take for granted, but then like when you go through a manuscript and you see like sometimes a writer will use like the M dash incorrectly, and sometimes it's just like a dash, and sometimes it's an M dash. Sometimes they don't use the right ellipses. Sometimes they don't use parentheses correctly, and you have to go through that over the course of 100,000 words. Like, it just is. But that's essentially the role of a copy editor, John. That's something that like writers might not focus on the formatting until the back end of it. If someone's spending too much time on the formatting of it, I would say like, yes, it's important, but it's a lower priority than making sure that the story makes sense. Like make the story make sense first. And then formatting is like a back end problem. Because for all you know, you're going to spend all this time trying to format your text message or your interiority. And then what happens if you cut it in the next draft? Because it's not important. Formatting is like a last thing that you generally worry about when you're ready to fix the punctuation and the grammar of it all.
Pretty much.
But that's a good call out.
I just want to say this: Drafted Digital. I believe it was either Drafted Digital or Ingram Spark. One of the two. Actually had a button that allowed you to take your print copy, and it automatically formatted it to an ebook format for you. I need to double check which site that was because I've used both, but I know one of them allowed that.
Yeah, so okay, I guess let me clarify, Lynn. That's a really good call out. When I hear formatting, I think about formatting grammar, punctuation, and the text itself. If we're talking about formatting the manuscript, which should already have gone through a proofread, into an ebook, that is different. I didn't use the correct language for that. Yeah, Lynn, you're absolutely right. Copy editing is for fixing grammar, punctuation, and what's the right word? It is formatting. It's formatting your it's formatting non-traditional text, which does happen in copy formatting. But there's another word. I'm probably just blanking on it. But in terms of once the manuscript is done and ready, once it's already gone through a proofread, turning that into an ebook, that is a different thing. And writers will actually pay for that as well. What do you guys use to turn your stuff into ebooks?
I just kind of upload it. I format it as I can. I actually do the formatting myself.
Mm-hmm.
I usually go through like Google Docs at this point because I don't have Word on my computer on this computer.
Mm-hmm.
But I just kind of upload like that. And Drafted Digital also gives you like a preview of what your book looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually took my a Shifting Flame through there, and through their actual formatting, I did find an error. So it wasn't like it took the formatting and like completely changed it, but it had like an option of what do your space breaks look like. And like if the first letter of the first word at the top at the beginning of the chapter was like oversized or something.
Okay, that totally makes sense. I think when I've formatted from the manuscript, I think I've used Atticus because I've had other people do the formatting. That's what we formatted the anthologies. So all of the WriteNow anthologies we used Atticus for. So there's a lot of different ones. I mean, some writers do format using Microsoft Word. I've
We
heard
do
that
it for 4.
I've just heard that it's more difficult. More difficult because what's going to happen is you're going to upload the draft to Amazon KDP. Amazon is then going to tell you there are all these errors, or it's going to shift things. And let's say you have a 400-page book. You're going to have to go page by page and make sure the things are formatted correctly because you've done I wouldn't say Microsoft Word is non-traditional. It's just less frequent, but it's free, right? It's you're using the freer options, which is great, especially when so much of it costs money and we're trying to save money.
I actually didn't get any errors when I went through Draft Through Digital, though.
You don't have any problems with Draft Through Digital. I think Readsy has an editor as well. Kindle does have a free editor. I've just heard very mixed things on those ones. But Atticus is a good one, but it costs money, right? So then you're paying more. What are other ones? And then Lynn said that she uses Vellum. I've heard Vellum is a popular one, but I forgot how much it costs or if it's free.
I misread that as volume.
Yeah, that's what we need to get the book to the final state. All right, guys, authors, how do you get to the final state?
Push it.
Vellum is apparently only available for Macs.
It's a Mac. Okay.
But I'm not.
I thought she was going to say for men.
Oh wait, no, never mind. Here it is. Vellum.
It's Vellum is basically 200.
It is 200 for ebooks, for unlimited ebooks, and if you want to create paperbacks, it is $250.
Yep. Atticus is $150. I'm pretty sure. Last I checked, I'm pretty sure Atticus is $150. But then the other ones like Draft to Digital was free, right? Mm-hmm. Draft to Digital is free. Readsy is free. Of course, Amazon's is free, but that's basically what you're giving up, right? So you're getting the free stuff, but you're going to have to give up more time to go through and fix it yourself. That's really what it comes down to, which is very, very doable. You just have to plan for that time. Thinking like, all right, I'm going to use one of these software, and it'll take me 10 minutes to format. Now it's probably going to take you days to go through the formatting. And I think as long as you plan the time, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then all it takes is Googling YouTube videos of like, all right, how do I format? We live in the age of information. Like, it's so easy to find how to do everything out there.
Yeah, I'm having to transfer. I'm gonna end up having to transfer all the way all over to Microsoft because that's the only option I have for my year of computer system. My laptop is an old model, like I think my granddaddy. Yeah, it's like a 11 laptop or something like that. So this thing's like 10, 15 years old. All I got is Microsoft. So it's the only option I have, and I'm going to have to transfer all my papers over to it before I can even think about editing and formatting.
Totally get that. And I feel like sometimes it's a step-by-step process. Like, I know there are so many different types of like software and there's so many different types of options out there, but I've always been so used to loving Microsoft Word, and I think I'm just so used to it. I know there's better options out there.
Oh yeah.
I know what I'm used to, and I like the form, I like the structure, I like the way things are done, and I'm very familiar. But if I went and looked in like, so you use like AutoCrit, right? Don't you use AutoCrit?
Yes.
So like there's other programs, right? And you can do the things faster and easier with these other programs. It's just convenient. Sometimes we like what we like, right? I'm a creature of habit.
Thought you were gonna say you were the creature of the night.
I'm
Be
a
like,
new
"Hey,
body and an old school. I'm old school and a young body.
Old school and a young body. I am a dragon. That's what I am.
Yes, dragon. All hail the
Um,
mighty dragon
I am
warrior.
Sparta.
mhm. I am.
I am root beer.
Oh man,
And
you guys have
David.
some good quotes. By the way, I created a
My name's
quotes
Doug.
channel so everyone can put their best quote in the Discord. By the way, I expect some great quotes. Let's see. I see here. Let's see. About Maggie, I use MS Office so I can format in Word. Then use the free Calibre to convert to ebook format. I've heard about Calibre as well, another free software. I'm not as familiar with that one, but I have heard of it before. So I use Google Docs formatting stuff. I'm not good at formatting stuff. Completely understandable. Most new writers that I've seen generally use Google Docs for writing when starting out. And I mean, Google Docs. There's a reason Google Docs is so easily accessible. So can you format a book fully with Google Docs? I mean, I guess you can with Microsoft Word, so you probably can.
I would imagine. I haven't used Google Docs really outside of what we've done for the Right Now community.
Mhm.
But when I've gone into format like the little things that I've sent you in the past,
Mhm.
it wasn't that difficult. It was basically just using Word just in a
Yeah,
browser.
I mean, I'm sure if you go online, if you go YouTube, search how to format my book in Google Docs for Amazon KDP, you'll probably get 10 videos telling you how to do it. Yeah, and then that's always the thing, right? Learning a new program is like then you're investing more time to go learn a new program. So I think it's just figuring out what feels right. But
That's why they make books called For Dummies.
ain't that the truth? All right.
I have used several of them.
Hey, trust me. I think one of my favorite books. What was it? One of my favorite books growing up was a fantasy. It's like I forgot if I have it. It was like a fantasy world building for dummies. I remember that, and I loved it so much. I learned so much from it. Okay, so I feel like we've accomplished a good amount, but I think now is an excellent time to hopefully get a little bit of writing in. So let's do a writing sprint. Do a writing sprint as I'm setting up on my end. All right, perfect. Here we go. All right, so let's do a writing sprint. We're gonna get it in. I'd say we'll do a 30-minute writing sprint, and then we'll go from there. So let's do 30 minutes. We're gonna see just what we accomplish. But for those of you who are here in the stream or here in the chat, by the way, thank you for joining us. This is our weekly writers group. We're gonna hop into a writing sprint now. But if you haven't done so already, we have done a couple of cool Discord updates this week. What is the worst, the most cringiest, or the most comedic opening line of a story that you could think of? Go post it in our weekly writing challenge on the Discord, and you might be entered into the Hall of Epic Writers. So go do that this week because we'll decide on the winners next week. And let's see what we can come up with, my friends. All right, so I got the screen all queued up here. We'll check back in after the sprint, And we are all ready. So without further ado, whether you're writing, editing, revising, author branding, brainstorming, or maybe you're just procrastinating, come join us because it's time right now. All right, and that is a writing sprint. Were you guys able to make some progress that time? Hopefully, just hopefully you're able to get in a couple words, a couple ideas, or something in between. How'd that sprint treat you two?
Not bad. Website didn't want to load, and that was annoying because I needed the spelling for something, but actually managed to get about 600 words done.
Well, at least you were able to get it some. At least you made a little bit of a push. What what about you, Ambrosia?
Clear out the lungs. I got a little bit done, but I was playing in the chat a little bit. We had some stuff come up in the chat that I could feel that I could help out there, so I was playing in the chat half the time.
I love that. Sometimes people come up with really good ideas, especially for like chat things, especially when you're like finding inspiration.
Yeah, and if something you can really connect on a personal level also gives that personal experience to bring forth a actually more, as what I've heard before, truth to the scenario. It can really help. And so in retrospect, I felt like I had a lot to offer in that situation because I personally have experiences with that.
Aw, I think that first off, thank you for sharing. That's amazing. I know that Unknown had been asking in the chat, asking for anyone that has advice for writing a character who's trying not to have a breakdown. And I think having a breakdown can look like and feel like so many different things to so many different people. So for anyone who's like experienced it, like I think it's awesome to be able to give ideas and context and like what are ways that can be captured correctly.
Right, and when in medical ways, not only like you can have like basic anxiety, but like anxiety atop with depression on top of where to the point of you're having PTSD episodes, and then also having PPD, which is postpartum depression, and have an episode that combines all four, you can really go into bad situations and life-threatening situations as well.
And I would ask myself, like, how would I write something like that? And I think if you're trying to navigate like subtext with a character having a breakdown, and usually when we're having a breakdown, right, it's not like it's not always obvious, right? And I think it's usually a layer. It's usually something that starts as a result of something, and then it tends to spiral. Right. So then the question that you ask yourself as a writer is, how can you show those levels of spiraling? Now, of course, once again, it's different for everyone. But I think if I was to make it easy for myself, I'd be like, what does the base level look like for this character of them breaking down? Is it them not able to really have like a full conversation anymore? Maybe they're getting distracted. What does the second level look like? Maybe they're trying to hold back from tears. Maybe they're shaking, but hands in their pockets. And then that third level is they hold back, but then they have whatever the breakdown is, right? Maybe they fall, maybe they start crying, maybe they start shaking, and you can go more physical. And that's
screaming.
Right? There's so many different ways to do it. But I think if I was going to write it and I had never myself experienced a breakdown, ask myself, how do I make each part of that breakdown for this character as kind of as obvious as possible? And then, of course, asking friends, family, coming into communities like this and asking others for their experience are great ways to better understand what do breakdowns actually look like for different people.
Not only that, but I want to add, look for books that might have characters that are breaking down and read how that's written as well, if you can.
Agreed.
Yeah. Also that different things like environment can play a part. Like you can be in a bad environment and makes the situation be worse. There's also been where you can have family around and they're making the situation worse than trying to make it better. So it's all different environmental place can also make the situation good or bad. What you have around you, it all varies.
Absolutely agreed. It's all relative, right? And what might cause one person to break down might be completely different for somebody else. And I think understanding what type of character you're working with, what is the thing that sets, and then understanding around them, Is it a memory? Is it the setting? Is it an object? Is it their health? I think there's so many different things. And then going down that path will help you. So this is a great conversation. Great advice. Great question, by the way, Unknown. I hope we're all able to kind of give you a little bit of insight because that's a great question. I know it sounds like we all got some good solid words in there. Lynn, 300-ish words. Megan, 223 words. I guess about halfway through this chapter. But granted, I'm kind of like playing around with Weird Trippy Dream chapter, so we'll see.
I'm having to clean up a page.
What was that? You said you...
I have one of my pages got water damage, so I'm having to rewrite.
Well, at least you didn't lose like a whole bunch of work. I've lost work before. It's heartbreaking.
Well, that's the funny thing is one side is damaged while the other side is completely intact.
Maybe it's a sign
So
that
I only had to do the one.
Damaged. Maybe it's a sign that part that was damaged, that paragraph, was supposed to be rewritten. Maybe It
actually was. I read it and I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? Like, it was terrible. And I'm like, rewrite, and then add.
Oh man, I called it. But I absolutely love that. I'm glad that we were able to make a little bit of progress today. I appreciate you guys. Everyone, thank you for joining Writers Group this week. We're going to wrap up a few minutes early, but I appreciate everyone joining us. This is our very first Writers Group of 2026. Ambrosia, thank you for kicking off the new year with us. We appreciate you. And
hopefully I can appear more.
we try to figure out how to write, every single week, whether we get words in or not. One word, one sentence, one idea at a time. But yeah, everyone, thanks all for joining us. It's been great. We'll be back next Wednesday, same time, same place, Right Now Writers Group. If you want to join us, drop me a comment, drop a message, join the Discord, shout, holler. You can come hop on stream or join us in the chat. I'll be back tomorrow with another Daily Writing Sprint stream. And I think that's all. Oh, Story and Critique shows this Saturday. So everyone, don't forget to submit. If you want feedback on your story, next episode of the Story and Critique show, everyone's favorite, back this Saturday. And that's all that I got. All right, friends. Thanks all for joining. I'm Kaufman, and these guys are...
Chat Soul.
Ambrosia Phoenix.
Hey, we got it. And we'll catch you on the next stream. Take care, friends.
Stories are forever. I'm Kaufman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers. It's time to write
now. Sorry.
Right now, not right now, but right now. Read now, right now. Is that right?